Hi, I'm Leah Toro, and this video was originally recorded with my camera and a backup setting and stuff, but the lighting was genuinely so bad that I had to scrap the entire video, and it was a mess anyway, so we really didn't lose anything. So subscribe because clearly I'm dedicated to putting out only quality content. And speaking of quality content, I have been on TikTok recently. And on my For You page, I'd occasionally get TikToks of women throwing out these vitamin pill thingies, and warning other women to stay away from ashwagandha because it increases fertility rates. But it also got me very curious because I didn't know what ashwagandha was. And so I went to the ashwagandha TikTok hashtag, and oh my goodness, it is one of the most entertaining places I've ever seen. It's this horrific cesspool of content, like a real mixing pot of angst and humor and gym bros with the lowest exposure videos you could imagine, and the same euphoria clip over and over again. Like, I don't know who these people are or what this clip means in the show's context, but they just keep using it. And it really got me thinking, like, what is going on over here? And so I went digging and I fell down the rabbit hole, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that I am truly in love with ashwagandha TikTok. For anyone who is unfamiliar, ashwagandha is this root plant thing that can be found in Africa and Asia, and it's often harvested and extracted and used for its healing properties. It's really well known for its anti-stress and anti-anxiety properties especially, and it also has a shit ton of other health benefits. So you have things like muscle growth stimulation, lowers your blood pressure, it helps you get better sleep at night, it increases your emotional groundness, so you're better in tune with them and less to lash out at random. And it's all around very good. Borderline a miracle vitamin plant thing. You probably hear that description and think, oh cool, this is just some random vitamin that is doing good for people's bodies. Maybe I should invest. And if you're looking up the everyman's opinion on what ashwagandha does and its effects, and you go on TikTok, you will not have a fun time. And every TikTok is so vastly different in nature. It's almost hard to describe. The ashwagandha TikTok hashtag can be split into 4, maybe 3 different groups. The first of which is health professionals like doctors and nurses, dietitians, and occasionally personal trainers with some dietary knowledge, talking about ashwagandha in a multitude of different contexts, like how good is it for your muscle growth and muscle stimulation? How will this affect your exercise? Is it good for people who are anxious? Is it good for stress, etc., etc.? Which is all well and good, but then you also have these gym bro sad boy edits of the video is super low exposure, and it's just them going, I'm turning off my emotions. I've finally had enough of this sick world. I'm going emotionless villain mode. I'm Batman now. And it's ridiculous. It's hard to watch. It's so strange. And then you have this other subgenre where it's just a bunch of people lip syncing the sad songs about being fed up or being low as they record themselves taking a vitamin. And then there's this other I guess more popular subcategory. It's the one that I came across at first, which is a bunch of women taking ashwagandha and then talking about how it made them not give a fuck about some random guy annoying them or trying to get them upset, which also was insane. And it was a really fun hot and cold between seeing this edit of a person being reasons why you shouldn't take ashwagandha, it makes you depressed, and then immediately scrolling down, and then there's some girl on a hoverboard going insane, and it's just, oh, it's a beautiful car crash. I think, genuinely, my favorite subgenre of these ashwagandha TikToks isn't the gym bro edits, even though they're so funny, but it's this genre of people kind of sitting in front of their camera with sad music or some sad audio, talking about how ashwagandha has changed them, but not in the, oh, I'm a better person way. In the CW teen drama series, you've changed, man kind of way. And it's also so incredibly wild to watch. In all honesty, it reminds me of that Tumblr era where girls were making those like weird picture edits that were like hashtag depression and making it seem like this aesthetic little point of their lives and not like a debilitating mental illness. But I realize that's like a bit too extreme of a comparison to make to these people talking about how a vitamin gummy made them sad. And I think the best thing that I can compare it to, and something that I was actually around for, was that 2016 to 2017 nihilistic rap era where everyone was blasting EXO Tour Life or anything by Lil Peep, and like every XXXTentacion song that had Shiloh in it, where everyone was just like super sad and everyone wanted that numbness, like, you know, that drug talk that I can't feel shit, or whatever Lil Peep said. Like, if you were around for that era on SoundCloud and just like genuinely in the rap community, there were so many rappers talking about, like, you know, their depression and, you know, their angsty feelings, as well as talking about how they would take, you know, drugs to cope with these feelings. And then, you know, as these songs got popular, the fan bases of these artists would often kind of go and attempt to mimic said energy. Like, I'm also sad, and I am also taking a shit ton of Xanax. And it was a very interesting time. And when I think about Ashwagandha TikTok, I think about the Xanax epidemic of 2017, where everyone was talking about Xanax all the time. But instead of Xanax, you have a root vitamin. So, obviously, the absurdness of Ashwagandha TikTok isn't lost on the masses. So many people have opened their eyes to realizing that Ashwagandha isn't this, you know, off-brand Percocet that so many people are branding it as. And it's become kind of a widespread thing for people to comment under Ashwagandha TikToks and tell people that they're dealing with the placebo effect, or that they're in some way exaggerating their angstiness and, you know, their sadness for views and likes and the hashtag aesthetic of being empty. And I really did want to figure out where that came from, because there's so many TikToks for that, but they seem to come out of nowhere. And so I have a hypothesis, a theory, if you will. My hypothesis is that Ashwagandha TikTok hype had started in the Gym Bros subsection of the internet, and that's because Ashwagandha does things, I believe it does things to your testosterone levels, and it helps stimulate muscle growth in some people, so it can be pretty good for, you know, your gains in the gym, even though some dietitians and physicians have said that ashwagandha itself, like by itself, isn't what's giving people, you know, the big muscles. It's other things too, but ashwagandha can be helpful in some cases. And then, you know, everything was fine and dandy. People were taking ashwagandha and people weren't taking ashwagandha. And then, you know, one day the Fire Nation attacked. And by Fire Nation, I mean Anhedonia, or however it's pronounced. This was like, it's a semi-common side effect of ashwagandha in a specific kind of brand of it, and I'll get more into that later, where a person might end up being kind of just like having the ability to really feel things as much as they did before taken away from them, leaving them in this like empty, depressive state, if anything. And it's a very unfortunate side effect, and a lot of posts I've seen online, like articles or the occasional Reddit post, would be talking about ashwagandha and its negative side effects, ranging from, oh, it did nothing to me, or it made me super angry for no reason, like my cortisol levels were off the charts, or it gave me thyroid problems, which is common. You know, in some cases, deprived them of all of their joy and really dulled how they feel and express their emotions. And so, you know, a lot of people saw this as like a very not good thing, and so there'd be occasionally, I'm guessing, the TikTok talking about their experience and warning people to stay away. And over time, that just became the thing that people really focused on with ashwagandha. And so it kind of gained this reputation of being the anti-emotion drug that everyone needs so they can't feel anything ever. Which is wild, and probably what's happening given how it's being kind of promoted to people as the anti-emotion drug and not vitamin gummy. So yeah, people thinking that this entire thing is a placebo is incredibly valid, but at the same time, I feel like there is a chance that people could also just be facing the negative effects of ashwagandha on a wider scale. I don't know. When I originally, went through the hashtag, I was believing that everyone under this was just piggybacking off of someone else's post for the clout or whatever, and that this was in fact a giant placebo effect. And then I remembered this random post I read a while ago talking about how it's not that more people are, being diagnosed with XYZ. It's just that now those people are on the internet and talking about it, so it just seems like it's, more than you'd originally have thought. Like, clearly a lot of these people are going through it and they're just not happy. And it'd be wrong for me to deny them their, depression because I think it's a giant placebo effect. So I did some digging and I decided to answer the question once and for all. Is ashwagandha actually just a giant placebo effect that we're witnessing take place in real time? Or is everyone actually suffering the same negative side effect at the same time? And the answer is yes. Yes, they are. So the thing about ashwagandha and any ashwagandha supplements that you come across, it's important to note that they're all ashwagandha. They all contain ashwagandha. They're all the same supplement, essentially. But the thing that makes them different isn't just the brand, it's also where the ashwagandha extract is coming from, because how it's extracted directly affects its potency, and that affects how people tend to react to taking ashwagandha. I need to stress that I am not a doctor, nor am I a pharmacist, and everyone will react to everything differently, because it's not just what something does to someone, it interacts with a bunch of different things, like a person's blood pressure, or their, hormone levels. And changing it too much or changing it a certain amount can mess some people up, especially if they already have some internal thing going on that is already pretty off-balanced or whatever, not a doctor. So what I'm saying here isn't gospel. This is just one big hypothesis, and I need you to remember that. So going back to how extracts are made, when it comes to, the type of extracts a person can get, there are 3 popular types that are, the most common to see on the market. And that is Sensorial, Shodan, and KSM 66. And one of these names is not like the other. And it's because one of these names is just super fucking potent. So the most common, I think, of the 3 that you'll see in the mainstream market is Sensorial or KSM 66. Sensorial extract comes from, I believe, the, mix of roots and leaves. Meanwhile, KSM 66 takes the traditional root and it takes the traditional root and just takes from the root, which means it's incredibly potent and is essentially the most concentrated form of ashwagandha on the market. Do you see what I'm getting at here? So, my hypothesis is that because the extract is, well, it's not really a hypothesis if it's already proven. The thing is, the more potent ashwagandha is, the more chances that it might throw some people off balance. Some people say that KSM 66 does nothing for them, and others will say it totally ruined their lives, and KSM 66 doesn't have the best track record. And so I realized that it is entirely possible that all of these people are taking the most concentrated form of KSM 66 and are all suffering its most common side effect at the same time. And I genuinely think that's it. So I decided to, bookmark some of the, sit down in front of a camera, hashtag sad, edgy, numb, TikToks that I saw about ashwagandha, and then go and try and look up the brand name and see what kind of ashwagandha extract is being used in these TikToks, and that way I can kind of see if they all have, a common denominator at least. So I had to do a lot of pausing for this part, by the way, so much pausing and zooming in and screenshotting, because I was so dedicated to this, because I really wanted to see if this was possible. So, for one, we have Spring Valley 800 milligrams. So, this is actually a root powder and not an extract. So it's, I think if I had to make a scale of least potent to most potent, it's definitely on the least potent side. So the effects of it can vary on the individual, and I guess is more in the hands of how your body reacts to ashwagandha. So I guess that one kind of doesn't count. It could just be a bad chemical reaction. But one of the more popular brands, Golly, uses KSM-66. Best Naturals, KSM-66. Swanson, KSM-66. Nature Made, either KSM-66 or Cenosil, because they do make both, but this guy's got KSM-66. Are you seeing the trend here? The thing is with ashwagandha, it's not just the power of the root and its extract in of itself that makes the big difference for people. It's also seemingly dependent on how you take it. I've seen a few TikToks, both by people who are just normies taking ashwagandha, and, you know, like, medical professionals, I guess, talking about it. And there's mentions of cycling it, and I cannot tell you how to cycle it for the life of me. The comments of these TikToks and the TikToks of themselves all give different information. Some people are saying that you take it, you know, every other day. Some people are like, you take it every other day for a month, and then you go cold turkey for a month and then you take it again. And some people are like, no, I take it every day. And I genuinely think it might just depend on the individual. So that could also be a major part of it. But it's just, like, wild to see this happening. Because I think it's very clear here that this is low-key just another example of a lot of people seeing something on TikTok and buying it because they saw it on TikTok. Like, you know, TikTok tends to have their product of the week, this never-ending roster of some random thing that someone found somewhere and now does something that everyone needs, and so everyone's running to buy it because it's the thing of the week. Why would you not want the thing of the week? And unfortunately, ashwagandha seems to be the thing of the week, and a lot of people are seeing, like, these TikToks about it that are, like, generalizing its symptoms and what it really does for someone, and giving constant contrasting information, and going, yeah, okay, it does this thing, and I want it to do this thing, so I guess I'll take it. Which, I get it. When you see people's testimonials about something, you often tend to go, either, yeah, okay, this is something that can happen, but it might not, so you take it anyway. And I feel like a lot of people... Oh shit. Dude, holy shit, my recording just stopped on, like, and I thought I was about to lose all of my progress. I was about to cry, because that was like 20 minutes of recording. Freestyling. I didn't write a script for this video. Well, I did, but I didn't go on it. But anyway, what I was saying before, I think what we're seeing is just a bunch of people who are seeing these generalized TikToks, giving them contradicting information about some vitamin, and creating this falsehood of what it really does in their minds, or at least telling them about some random side effect that they might get and they might not. And so they're going out for it under the guise of it doing what it wants to. I mean, the amount of women under the hashtag talking about how they got ashwagandha because that means they'll no longer be susceptible to being in emotional distress because of someone else bothering them, or as a means of shutting out any kind of, any stress-inducing stimuli in their lives. And I think that's totally fine. As an anti-stress and anti-anxiety, I guess, supplement, you're gonna take it so it does its job. But also, I feel like a lot of people are going into it under the guise that it's going to turn off their emotions. And that, plus a lot of people just taking the most potent form of the supplement and then going on with their day like nothing is happening, is kind of mixing together both placebo effect and real life effect, and creating this wave of people who are totally hashtag numb because they took too much hashtag ashwagandha. I do feel for the people under their hashtag who are clearly, like, genuinely suffering because of ashwagandha. Like, that depression that it gives you is real, and it sucks, and I hope they feel better. And I also hope that people stop posting that goddamn Euphoria clip, because I can't take it anymore. Why is this guy bumping into this girl? And what does that mean? Like, what does it mean? How is that them on ashwagandha? When you take ashwagandha, you can't see women? you can't see women anymore? Okay. Alright. I think that does it for this video. If you like this video, you should like this video. And if you didn't like this video, you should like it anyways, because honestly, why the fuck not? Leave a comment about ashwagandha and your favorite edgy ashwagandha TikTok. And watch my other videos. Last time I had an outro song, I got copyright claimed, and I can't deal with that again. So, this is the end of the video now. Goodbye, take care of yourselves. Peace and love, everyone.